All right, for today, we're going to be talking about three rules that here we'll see if they work or not. One of them is called side angle. What I mean with that is that each triangle that I have, I'm going to have two angles marked. So let's say I have two angles marked and the side in between the angles. So the side should be touching both angles. So I mean this side. So I need two angles and the side in between them. We have another rule that we called angle side. What I mean with that one is I need two angles to begin with, two angles, but now the side is not the one in between the angles. It's any of the other sides, not the one in between the angles. As an example, I could mark this side. So that's the difference between side angle, is right, it's two angles and the side in between them, or angle side. It's two angles but not the side in between them. Now, do I mark that side or the other side? It doesn't matter which one, right? As long as it's not the side in between the angles. Now, there's a rule that we're going to talk about, angle. What I mean with that is the three angles. Now, interesting part is that congruent means same shape, same size. You guys could think of a triangle with three angles, and then think of another triangle with the same angles, just a little bit bigger, right? Things can get bigger as long as it keeps the same size. So because I can create different triangles with the same angles, I'm going to say angle does not work. I'm trying to see if they're congruent, and congruent means same shape, same size. Angle, it just tells me the same shape. I can create two triangles with the same shape, but different size. So angle does not work. So let's take a look. Question number 11. Determine that two triangles are congruent. If they are, state how you know. I talked before that the way I can mark a side is if it is used by both triangles. I talked about that in my previous lecture. I can legally mark a side if it is used by both triangles. The only way I can mark an angle is if they form an X. The only way I can mark an angle is because of vertical angle theorem. When they form an X, opposite angles are equal to each other. So question number 11, I can say I can mark this angle with this angle, right? They form an X. Now, I'm going to take a look at one triangle only. Let me focus on this triangle. And I always look for two of something, either two angles or two sides. Once again, I'm looking at what is marked. In this case, I have two angles. You guys can see I have two angles marked. Then my question is the side in between the angles? If it is, put the S in between the A's. If it is not, don't put it in between them. So if the side is in between the angles, you're looking at side angle. If the side is not in between the angles, you're looking at angle side. In this case, the side is not in between them, so angle side. I quickly take a look at the other triangle. It is marked the same way. Angle side is a rule that works, so that's all you have to type in. Looking at question number 12. I can legally mark this angle with this other angle, right? Vertical angle theorem. Let me take a look at one triangle. I'm taking a look at this triangle, and I always ask myself, from what is marked, it's either two angles or two sides marked, two of something. I notice that there are two angles marked. So I'm going to put my two A's. Then the side, the one side that is marked, I ask myself, it is in between the angles or not? If it is, I'm looking at side angle. So if it is, put the S in the middle. If it's not, don't put the S in the middle. In this case, it is not. So I'm looking at angle side. I quickly take a look at the other triangle. Is marked the same way, so it works. Looking at question number 13. I can legally mark this angle with this angle, right? Opposite angles, vertical angle theorem. I notice that I have all three angles, right? I quickly take a look at one of my triangles. I look at one of my triangles, and that what I see that is marked is all three angles. Angle. I notice the other triangles marked the same way, but I mentioned earlier that angle does not work. So I'm just going to call this not congruent. Take a look at number 14. First, I see, can I legally mark something? Yes, I can mark those angles. Then take a look at one of your triangles. I'm looking at this triangle. I notice that this triangle has two angles marked. Then the side, I ask myself, is the side in between the angles? It is. So let me put the S in between the A's. I notice the other triangles marked the same way. Angle, side angle is a rule that works. So that's what I will write. Looking at question number 15. I can legally mark this angle with this angle. I'm going to take a look at one of my triangles. And I'm going to find either two angles or two sides marked. In this case, I see two angles marked. Then I ask myself, is the side in between the angles? It is. The other triangle is marked the same way, so angle, side angle is good. Question number 16. I can mark this angle with this angle. I take a look at one triangle. And I notice that this triangle has two angles marked. I'm going to put my two angles. Then I ask myself, is the side in between the angles? It is not. So I'm going to put angle, angle, side. The other triangle is marked the same way. So that's how I do this part. Now let's take a look at something like this. It says, state what additional information is required in order to know that triangles are congruent for the reason given. So for question number 17, I want these triangles to be angle, side, angle. So two angles and the side in between. From the 3 marks you're supposed to have, 2 of them are given. And I'm asking which one am I missing? Looking at the first triangle, I see 2 angles marked. So I'm going to say what I'm missing is the side in between the 2 angles. So I need this side. Looking at my second triangle, I need this side, right? I need the 2 angles which are given and the side in between them. So my answer, when I'm talking about sides, I use 2 letters. So I'm going to say LM equals TS. Make sure all capital letters. Let's take a look at question number 18. I can legally mark this side because the 2 triangles use it. So here, let me take a look at one triangle. I need 2 angles and a side. Make sure the side is not in between the angles. So what I need an angle. So I'm going to say, all right, from this triangle, I need this angle, right? 2 angles, but the side not in between. From the other triangle, I need this angle. For sides, use 2 letters. For angles, use 3 letters. Make sure the corner is in the center. So looking at the triangle in green, the one I was looking at first, I'm going to use all 3 letters, but Z is going to be in the middle. So I'm going to say X, Z, Y equals. Now from the other triangle, I'm going to use all 3 letters, right? For an angle, I use 3 letters. I'm going to make sure the Y is in the center. So I'm going to go Z, Y, G. The order of the letters does not matter for as long as the angle that you need, the letter that you need is in the center. What I mean with that, if you write X, Z, Y equals G, Y, Z, it's going to be okay. Right? Make sure on the first angle, the Z is in the center, and the second angle, the Y is in the center. Now, let's take a look at question number 19. First, mark anything that you can legally do. Remember, you can mark a side if both triangles use the side. You can mark an angle if they form an X. Then, take a look at one triangle. I'm going to take a look at this triangle. Now, here, I need angle, angle, side. I need 2 angles and the side not in between the angles. Okay, I'm given an angle, so I need a second angle, but once again, make sure the side is not in between the angles. So from this triangle, I need this angle. From the other triangle, I need this angle, right? I need two angles and the side not in between the angles. For angle, once again, you use three letters. So looking at the top triangle, I'm going to use all three letters. Make sure C is in the middle. So I'm going to go ECK or KCE, however you want. Make sure C is in the middle. For the other triangle, I'm going to make sure J is in the center. So I'm going to call this KJL. For angles, you need three letters. Now let's take a look at number 20. Mark anything that you can. You can mark a side if the two triangles use the same side, which I cannot. You can mark an angle if they form an X, which in this case it doesn't happen. So all right, so then I look at the rule. Angle, side. I need on each triangle two angles and the side not in between them. So I'm gonna say, well, I can use this angle with this angle. When it comes to angles, you need three letters. So I'm gonna say NML, right? I'm leaving the M in the center. For the other triangle, I'm gonna leave the S in the center. So I'm gonna call this RST.